Magandang araw sa inyong lahat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening po sa lahat ng nakikinig po.
Hello to all our viewers from here and around the world.
Napakaganda na ating talintiman ngayong hapon ito.
Isang mainit na pagbati po sa inyong lahat.
Well, friends,
welcome to the Bridges Show. I'm very happy to be here, and I think it should be a really interesting and fun topic.
But there are things you want to learn. So I want to take it from there and then I listen to them.
Meron po silang mga mitiin upang maging makabuluhan pa ang pagiging Katoliko. Lalong-lalo na sa susunod na henerasyon.
Sa akin po, sa mga kabataan, use competence as a basis.
In real life, hindi naman talaga tayo tumitigil sa buhay. Kailangan talaga tuloy lang ang buhay kahit anong challenges natin.
Palawan, Cebu, Baguio City, Atty. Dwight, pati La Union. So we are saying that revenge travel is real.
Mas kailangan natin na i-share ang hiwaga ng sining sa mga tao.
Food and health should go hand in hand. So yan ang gusto namin paratingin sa gobyerno.
If you will just devote your life to change, hindi ka yayaman sa pera, pero yayaman ka sa tao.
Siyempre, ang pinakamaganda po naman sa ating universidad ay yung talagang matuturuan po tayo kung paano maging mabuting tao.
Happy anniversary to Bridges! Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love.
VUCA is an acronym which characterizes the nature of difficult situations and conditions. It is not new, considering that the term was introduced by the military, the U.S. Army in particular, during the 1990s in anticipation of the conditions that the world will face after the Cold War. We all encounter VUCA conditions in our daily lives, such as the global economy in general and the coronavirus pandemic and other significant disruptions in particular. Hence, the need to adopt strategies to address these VUCA conditions. We have today a very special guest and an expert who will share with us about thriving in the VUCA environment, the post-pandemic game changer hacks. This episode is brought to you by the UST PMT CAT Alumni Association and the UST Alumni Association. Bago po ang lahat, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. Welcome to our Bridges Show. I am Joey Simon, your host for today's Bridges Show. I am proud to say that I am a full-blooded Tomasian alumnus from elementary to the graduate school. I am the former president and chairman of the UST PMT CAT Alumni Association and a former cadet colonel of the UST PMT Golden Corps of Cadets. Before we continue, may I ask our audience to please remember to like and share our show and subscribe to our UST Tomasian Alumni Community YouTube channel and follow our Facebook page. Our guest for today has over 35 years of experience in designing and conducting human resources and organizational development, intervention, and management development courses. As a consultant, he has successfully trained and influenced the top management teams of the different companies belonging to the top 100 corporations in our country today. He is also an accredited team facilitator of the Tom Heck International Association of Teamwork Facilitators at Asheville, North Carolina. He is a founding member of the International Membership of Professional Advisors, Coaches, and Trainers in San Diego, California. Eric is also an international certified life coach of Fowler Wainwright International Institute of Professional Coaching at North Wales, Pennsylvania. As a social entrepreneur and influencer, his training and consulting work extends beyond the borders of the corporate world and into the local government units, academe, foundations, non-governmental organizations, associations, fellows of the religious sector, and many more. Currently, he is the chairman and president of the UST PMT CAT Alumni Association, Inc. Let us welcome our very special guest to Bridges, Mr. Eric Monte. Magandang hapon, Eric, and welcome to Bridges. We are so glad to have you with us this afternoon.
Magandang hapon, Sir Joey. Magandang hapon at magandang araw sa lahat ng mga viewers natin ngayong araw na ito. I'm very pleased and honored to be part of this Bridges episode. Kamusta kayo lahat?
Mabuti naman, mabuti. So guesting in Bridges is like coming home to UST, our alma mater, again. How many years were you able to spend in UST, Brother Eric?
Well, Joey, I've been in UST for 4 years. No? I spent my formative years in high school, 1974 to 1978. So I belong to the class of 1978.
Okay, hindi pala nagkakalayo ang ating edad. And during these years, what memory left a most significant and memorable imprint in you?
Well, there are so many great memories that I have experienced sa UST noong panahon ko nung high school, no? Most especially when I have spent my high school also in the School for Cadet Officers during my CAT days. Being a cadet officer in UST has formed in me many core skills and core values na ginagamit ko pa rin hanggang ngayon, no? Yung mga leadership skills, no? Skills on how to anticipate many things in different areas in life and at work. So, yung organizational skills, malaking bahagi yon ng natutunan ko sa Cadet Corps. And more especially din during my days sa academics inside the halls of the UST High School. Malaking bagay siya na ginamit ko at na ipasa ko, na isalin turo ko sa mga anak ko. 3 of my children also spent their high school sa UST High School din, no? So I'm very proud of that. 2 lalaki, 1 babae. My daughter also spent, siya yung umabot sa senior high school, no? She's right now taking up communication arts in the University of the Philippines. Sabi nga niya, maning-mani lang daw yung mga academic directions and mga instructions sa UP because of probably yung breeding niya saka yung kanyang educational background at training sa UST sa high school.
So very nice. Can you briefly share with us what you are currently doing now, and has your study in UST had an influence in the work that you do now?
Well, right now I'm a consultant for HR and OD management training. So I'm a training intervention specialist. I design and facilitate different management programs for different clients here and abroad. So I've been also a resource speaker and motivational speakers for different entities, business entities here, and also in the Southeast Asian region. I also I'm a team coach. I do a lot of team culture building, direction planning for different companies. Hindi ito yung mga team building sa mga palaro, but these are team culture buildings that we design to be able to develop yung mga team skills na collaborative at yung mga team skills ng communication doon sa nararapat na panahon. No? So, hindi na uso kasi yung mga ginagawang mga team building na mga parang palaro lang. So, these are cerebral activities that we process and try to bring the lessons back to the workplace and how they would evolve to a higher level, kung paano nila ma-level up yung kanilang work styles and how they collaborate as a team. Natutunan ko yung mga bagay na yan dun sa mga collaborative work ko sa mga iba-ibang mga consultants din. But yung foundation niya, nanggaling din dun sa corporate life ko when I was still a young executive way back in the 1980s. No? Pero I was very successful din dun sa aking stint as a young executive sa mga iba-ibang companies, sa mga financial institutions, sa marketing. No? Marketing by accident ako, Sir Joey. So, I was not really into sales, no? Actually, I was not really into training, but because of probably of providence, divine providence, no? Napunta ako dito sa larangan na to dahil siguro marami akong dapat tulungan, no? Yun yung dinala ko from the campus of Hispania, from UST, no? Yung ating core values ng serving other people, no? Yung Thomasian values nung how we would bring about change sa society, not only sa personal change natin. No? Nadala ko yun, marami akong natutunan doon sa mga teachers ko nung high school. Most especially teacher ko sa sociology or sa social studies, si Ma'am Evelyn. Si Ma'am Evelyn noon way back then during the 1970s was our teacher in social studies, si Miss Ariola. Miss Ariola pa siya noon. No? So I'm very proud that I was under her steerage, no? At marami ako natutunan sa kanya. At of course, dun sa mga iba pa rin mga teachers sa high school, no? Under the leadership of Father Rebollo, our regent, at si Mr. Torres, yung principal natin, no? So nadala ko yon dun sa aking trabaho as a training specialist. Until now, as being a consultant, right now I'm working as a senior partner for the Mentor Group Asia. We're consultants for management that we have clients sa iba't ibang mga aspeto ng training across the industry. So, yeah, Mitsubishi Motors, Coca-Cola, a lot of BPO companies, Continental Temic, no? So, iba-iba yung nakakasalumuha ko from high-level people sa management until hanggang sa baba sa mga factory workers. So, I must have the skill to design mga programs and deliver programs na pwede siyang high-polluting, pwede din siyang pang-executive, but pwede din siya dun sa pangmasa. So, kailangan very flexible. So, malaking bagay yung pagiging Thomasian ko. And of course, most especially yung pagiging cadet officer ko dahil marami tayong hinawakang mga kadete nung panahon nung naging officer tayo sa campus. No? So, the skill of adjusting to different personalities at iba-ibang mga tao, na-hone yung skills ko na yon. At yun ay naging gabay ko at naging madali para sa akin para matugunan yung mga responsibilidad ko sa corporate world.
Okay, very good. So we have the same experience.
Yes.
Gamit na gamit ko ang aking mga natutuhan, particularly on leadership and discipline and courtesy, which is are basically the key to success. VUCA is really not new, it's not really new since 1990s pa yan, as I have said during our intro. Can you tell us about VUCA environment in the new normal? What is VUCA and its origin?
Yes, Joey, it's a very familiar word as of today, no? Especially when the pandemic happened last 4 years ago, noong 2020, no? Pero katulad nga nung nabanggit mo, VUCA has been there for so long, no? It was a term or an acronym coined by the US military, specifically the US Army, no? So after the Cold War, as you mentioned, nagbago yung landscape ng military engagement or ng gera, sa madaling salita, no? So from the conventional or traditional way of fighting wars during the World War I and World War II, pagdating ng Cold War, so yung threat ng mga missile, threat ng technology and the other innovations sa espionage, no, and other aspects sa warfare, no, nagkaroon ng initiative ang US military, specifically the US Army, to come up with a initiative na tinatawag na VUCA, no. They have to treat the environment or the scenario as volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, no. Nung panahon yan, nung 1991, nung kasigsagan ng Afghanistan and Iraqi war, no. At ito'y dinvelop further nung nagkaroon ng 9/11 incident sa New York, no. Nagkaroon din ng pagpipino or re-refine tuning ng US Army War College, no. So, nag-aralan nilang mabuti ano pa yung pwedeng i-improve doon sa VUCA technology or VUCA initiative or VUCA system na maaari nating magawa para matugunan yung mga global threat ng kalaban, no. So yun yung origin ng VUCA, no. It's a military parlance, it's a military acronym. At kadalasan naman talaga yung mga system sa society, even governments, on how we do bookkeeping, how we do performance management, how do we put up our hierarchy sa mga corporation. Lahat po naman yan nanggaling sa military, no? Ang origin ng kadalasan military because the military cannot really put up a system na ganun-ganun na lang, no? Mediocre lang, no? So, ang US military is always devising of a plan since time immemorial, no? Na ano na yan, no? Na kailangan pulido yan, near perfect yan, no? So karamihan ng mga system sa society ngayon, in governments and even in the private area, kadalasan hinango at dinevelop ng US military, no. Kasama na diyan yung VUCA, no. Kung sasagutin ko yung pangalawa mong tanong, Sir Joey, yung ano yung nangyari na VUCA doon sa pandemic, no, ng nakaraang 2020. So nag-emerge ulit, lumutang ulit, no. The VUCA idea or situation emerge again nung nangyari yung pandemic. But before the pandemic, no, between the conceptualization ng VUCA during the 1990s, marami ring nangyaring mga small VUCA situation or scenario na maaari natin pag-usapan mamaya. I would gladly share with you, no, later on sa mga case studies, mga examples kung ano yung mga small VUCA stories ng iba't ibang mga tao, mga iba't ibang mga kumpanya na maaari natin makakapulutan ng aral, organizational-wise, saka personal-wise, no? So maganda siyang, it is a very timely subject. It is a very comfortable subject for both of us, Sir Joey, dahil we have both military background, no? Sabi mo nga, no? So kaya yun ang sinuggest natin dun sa Bridges na we would want to expound more. Actually, may mga Bridges episodes na nag-touch on din yan. I think, if I'm not mistaken, si Sir Henry, diniscuss din niya pahapyaw yung VUCA, no? During that one of the episodes. I just can't remember anong episode yun, no? But we would like to offer some an episode that would have a deeper understanding, magkaroon ng deeper understanding and appreciation kung ano yung negative at positive ng VUCA, no? Actually, para sa akin, ang VUCA is a very positive situation and environment, no? Kapag ang tao, inaccept mo talaga that change is constant, that there is nothing permanent in this world but change. Ang VUCA is a very, very systematic approach for us to be able not only to survive, but also to thrive, no? To grow, to develop different perspective on different things, no? So yung pandemic, nagkaroon tayo ng emergence ng VUCA environment again, no? Everything was volatile, no? Biglaan. Yung pag sinabi kasing volatile, biglaan, no? Hindi mo inaasahan, no? So yan, yung katulad yung mga dinidiscuss natin ng mga artificial intelligence, no? Biglaan siya, no? For those who are not privy or not really in the know sa technology, nabibigla na lang sila, may artificial intelligence, no? Maaring iba natutuwa, napapalitan nila yung picture nila sa Facebook ng mas maganda. At some areas sa academics, no? Yung mga bata nagkakaroon ng gabay or nagkakaroon ng konting tulong sa pamamagitan ng ChatGPT, no? So maraming gano'n, no? But for others sa workplace, no? Sabi nga sa usap-usapan sa Philippine HR, no? Kung papalitan na tayo ng mga artificial intelligence, mawawala na yung position natin sa trabaho, no? So sabi ko nga, people who are mistaken or afraid of the AI are those people who are not really fully aware or do not have really the realization or appreciation ng AI, no? So the more you know about something, the more you have the power to, maneuver or manage yung mga ganyang bagay, no? So yung sa pandemic, no, yun, yung biglaan volatile siya, no? Nagkaroon tayo ng uncertainty, no? Kailan ba 'to matatapos? Saan ba nanggaling ito, no? So from volatile, no, it's hard to really accept bigla nagkaroon ng change, no? Ganun naman ang tao. We are very very generally afraid of change, no? Because of our comfort zone, no? Ang saya-saya ko, pumapasok ako araw-araw, bigla may lockdown. Di ba? Something like that. Then yung kanyang tinatawag na uncertainty, no? Hindi mo alam kung saan nanggaling, what are the cause and effect nung nangyari na yan. May it be a financial breakdown, may it be a virus, may it be a change of regulation sa government that might be affecting your corporation or your business, or probably an event that happened in your family that will affect you personally, no? Biglang nabuntis yung anak, uncertain, ano mangyayari, something like that. So how do you handle that? So uncertainty brings you the inability to cope up, yung to plan, very uncertain, no? So yung planning skills mo nahihinder, no, nalilimit siya because you are uncertain, hindi mo alam yung cause and effect. Kailan ba matatapos yung pandemic, may gamot pa ba yan, no? Until such time na nakikita natin yung liwanag, no? Some other steps that that's being taken by the global community, by the global health community specifically, no? Pagdating doon sa letter C, yung complex, yung one example sa pandemic is yung complex yan, no? Marami siya, no? There are different areas, different patterns, different interconnection of different factors interconnecting. So it's very complex, no? And it's hard for us to be able to analyze things that are complex, no? So yun yung kalaban ng complex, no? Kung yung volatility, ang kalaban niya is yung change resistance, yung uncertainty, yung kalaban niya yung tinatawag na the inability to plan, no? To project or to project things, no? Yung sa letter C naman, yung complex or complexities of things, it is hard for us to analyze, no? So yung analysis mo, no, yung kanyang system thinking mo na hihinder nung complexity ng things, no? Lalo na ngayon, kahit nga hindi pandemic, before pa ng pandemic, marami tayong complexities na na-encounter. Sabi nga, we're living in a world that is seated on the technology, that complexity itself makes it very a burden, no? Yung mismong technology na brought about ng complexity ng things, siya na rin yung nagiging burden natin, no? So ang hindi makaagapay do sa technology, siya yung mga hindi maka-overcome ng complexities na yan, no? So pagdating do sa letter A, no, sa huli ng buka, yung ambiguity, no, yung walang kasiguraduhan, no, walang katiyakan, no? Yung kalaban naman niya yung the inability to innovate, no? So yung nahihinder yung power natin to innovate, to adapt doon sa iba-ibang mga areas. So yun yung nangyari nung pandemic, no? So many people lost their jobs, no? Worst case scenario. Some people were forced to, to do things to augment their source of living, no? So maraming naging plantito, Maraming natuto magluto ng bake mac, di ba? Na online business, no? Because lockdown eh. So there is no other recourse but to, to challenge or to fight and survive using technology, Facebook Market or online community, something like that. So yung mga nag-evolve dun sa mga panahon na yon, no? Those people who survived during the pandemic are those people who are able to understand yung steps that must be done during the VUCA environment. No? So this is not the pandemic, 2020. It's volatile, biglaan, uncertain ang things, no? Kailan matatapos, no? Very complex, no? Minsan nga, out of complexity, very chaotic nga, another term for the letter C. And the ambiguity of things make it more very, very difficult for everybody to really survive. No? So maraming restaurant na nagsara, no? Isa yon ang profession ko sa training, isa yan sa unang-unang tinamaan, no? Kasunod kami ng mga artista, no? Kasi live training kami. No? So maraming nawala na show, no? FB live na lang, no? So maraming ganong klase, no? So mga restaurant, those people or businesses or organizations that necessitate and require face-to-face transaction. So a lot of people lost their jobs, and a lot of people also were so, stubborn enough to fight and look for ways, get out of their comfort zone, change their mindsets and perspective to be able to not only to survive but to thrive, no? So yung meron akong kakilala diyan, Sir Joey, na dati nung nawalan siya ng trabaho, he's earning around mga 30 to 40,000 a month, no? Pero nung nawalan siya ng trabaho, he devised a way, no? Nagpantito siya, pati yung misis niya, nagtinda ng ganito, no? They made some homemade whatever, yata yung mga leche plan or whatever. So until now, they're doing it. Hindi na sila bumalik sa corporate world, and they earned actually triple their salaries when they were working before the pandemic. So it really take guts, no? It really take grit, no? A matter of change of perspective, no? It is easier said than done, of course. It is easier said than done. But we need to do due diligence when we are confronted by a VUCA situation. So kailangan nating i-analyze, no? I-accept, unang-una yung acceptance, no? We cannot do action pag hindi natin ina-accept, no? Pag meron tayong reluctance to change and we are, somewhat hesitant to do action because we are within our comfort zone, mahirapan tayo gumawa ng mga concrete action. The first step is to accept it, no? Have a pure analysis kung ano yung relevant na pwedeng gawin na mga bagay, no? So yun yung impact, at ang very challenging diyan talaga is doing the due diligence. But it is possible. There are so many success cases that I've seen as a life coach, no? Individually, personally, yung mga personal clients ko, and organizationally, no? Nung nagkamustahan kami after na medyo nag-normalize na, nag-new normal na, so nagbalikan na yung mga live training, nagkamustahan kami, they got me into do a different kind of strategic planning according to the VUCA environment. Anong klase mga leadership training ang kailangan? Kasi ang leadership training 5 years ago, hindi na siya katulad ng leadership training na kailangan ngayon. No? Ang customer service training 5 years ago is not really applicable to the kind of customers that we are confronting right now. Ganun din yun. No? So ang VUCA, it touches so many areas of our lives, so many areas of our business. No? Not only VUCA is limited to sa strategic management decision making, but also in the lower part of the organization. No? So the more you prepare, the earlier you prepare your people within the organization, the more people you make equipped with skills and competencies at mga hacks for them to be able personally, no? Kailangan hindi lang natin sila tuturuan doon sa loob ng negosyo natin, but also sa labas din, no? Sa pagbalik nila sa mga pamilya nila, no? So marami tayong matututunan dito sa episode na to, no? Na pwede nating isalin turo, no? I-pass on sa mga mahal natin sa buhay, not only sa corporation na kinalolooban natin, pero doon sa mga anak natin, sa mga mahal natin sa buhay, sa mga katulong natin, sa mga kasambahay natin, for them to be able also to have a full grasp you, the better for you. No? You're surrounded more by smart people, more anticipatory skills, no? Adaptive skills, mas maigi para sa iyo, no? Kasi ang laban ngayon, Sir Joey, is not only yung core skills mo, no? Yung yung essential skills na tangan ng bawat isa sa atin, but also sino yung kasama natin sa tabi natin, sa kaliwa natin, sa kasakanan natin, no? Yung collaborative effort ang mahalaga sa panahon ngayon, no? It is very important during the early years, no? During the 60s, 70s, alam natin 'yan, no? What the dream works, the team dream works, no? Team building, or di ba? Yung team, mas lalo na ngayon sa panahon na kinakaharap natin, may VUCA man o wala. Kung sino yung kasama mo, mas maiging mas smart, mas equipped sila, no? Kasi sabi nga natin, you are only as strong as your weakest link, eh, no? Malakas ka lang ayon dun sa pinakamahina mong kasama sa bahay, sa negosyo, at sa division mo o sa department mo. So yun yung tingin kong very challenging doon, no? But challenging it may, kailangan natin tugunan kasi nandiyan yan, eh. Sabi nga natin, change is constant, at yun ang ating kailangan gawin, yung due diligence tayo.
So, thank you very much. Ang ganda ng yung explanation. You have explained to us the purpose and importance of VUCA, and hindi pala ito limited lang sa military. Hindi lang pala limited sa military ang applicability ng VUCA. It's very much applicable to also to business, no? Can you cite to us other than business, ano pa yung mga ibang cases na they were not only able to survive but they were able to thrive despite this VUCA environment or despite a chaotic world? Meron pa ba tayong mga case study?
Yes, there are so many success stories that I can share with you. But I success stories and case studies that have been affected by VUCA, no? Success stories, and on the other side of the coin, yung mga tinatawag nating na karoon ng blunder or failure, no? That they weren't able to respond clearly and definitely dun sa VUCA environment. One good example, alam natin yan, yung lahat tayo nagkaroon tayo ng cellphone na Nokia, di ba?
Oh, yeah,
everyone,
yes.
Everyone. Yes. Nokia, during that time, actually 20 years ago, during that time, was the #1 cellphone. Di ba? Top of mind siya, eh. Pag sinabi mong cellphone nung araw, diba? Nokia. Of course, maraming nauna yung mga Motorola.
Motorola, oo.
Pero, ang talagang naging pinaka-trending talaga, no? Kung tatawagin nating trending and top of the mind, Nokia. No? It's a company from Finland. Ang Nokia is a 100-year-old Finnish company. Not saying na 100 years ago they were already producing cellphone, but they were already an established company. No? So they were top of mind. Pag sinabi mong mobile phone, Nokia. Parang pag sinabi mong soft drinks, Coca-Cola. Pag sinabi mong toothpaste, Colgate. The first thing that comes into mind when you mention the word mobile, not only in the Philippines but in the entire world, no? Even ang presidente ng United States, ang phone, ang Pope, ang phone, Nokia, di ba? So they were the first one who put the QWERTY. Sila yung naglagay nung keyboard ng laptop or ng computer dun sa telepono, di ba? Kung mapapandaan niyo, ang ABC nun isang button lang, eh, di ba? They were the ones who inserted the camera. And a lot of other innovations ginawa ng Nokia that made her or that made them #1. But being #1 and being complacent during a VUCA situation doesn't pay a lot, no? So they were resting on the laurels of success, no? Sabi nga natin sa negosyo, hindi ka pwedeng tutulog-tulog sa pansitan, eh, no? Sabi nga, kailangan you're always on your toe, no? Tip-top, shape ka dapat palagi. So while they were resting on the laurels, they didn't even know that on the other side of the fence, Apple was designing the touchscreen. And at the other side of the fence, Samsung was also looking and designing the touchscreen. So fast forward, one morning, they woke up, they were already nudged out of the market. Nawala sila. So ganun din, yung Kodak, ganun din ang Kodak, no? Somebody from the inside were telling them na, oy, digital na, dadating ang digital. Why don't we make digital cameras? No, wag. Kasi Kodak was heavily investing into film developing. So this man transferred to Sony and sold the idea. And again, fast forward, Sony dominated the digital camera market, and Kodak was swept away by the wave. So many cases, no? Yung mga DVD, no? Nawala yan kasi may Netflix na eh. Video streaming na mga movies, so nawala na yung mga DVD, yung mga CD na yan, no? Yung mga rentals na mga video, yung mga blockbusters, no? And these are multi-million-dollar companies that were swept away because of non-anticipation, no? Yung the inability to adapt dun sa the ever-changing business environment, probably because they were afraid of change, because they were operating within their comfort zone. They were not really thinking forward some other things, no? So yung mga ganun kasing mga pitfalls, no, mangyayari talaga sa iyo yan kung hindi mo naiintindihan yung volatility, no, yung uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity ng environment na kinakaharap mo, and you do not do the proper steps to anticipate them. Good and successful people, good leaders in organization, do not only anticipate change, they actually initiate the change, no? Sila yung gumagawa ng change. They are not head down, they can see around corners. Yun ang maganda dun sa mga successful and adaptable people, no? Personal wise and organizational wise, you must be able to think forward, no? Thinking forward. Ang mahalaga doon, you do not rest on your comfort zone. Ang una mong kalaban dyan, yung comfort zone mo eh. Pagka nasa comfort zone ka, yung inability to change your mindset and perspective, yun yung mag-enslave sa'yo, no? So, tingin ko yun, Sir Joey, yung malaking bagay na mga case studies na may share ko, no? At,
so, what you're saying is that dapat tayo, just like a scout, we should always be prepared, no? Sa PMT, tinetrain din tayo dyan as cadets. We are always ever ready and prepared for any eventuality. And gaya nga na nabanggit mo, it really pays to be proactive rather than reactive. So, hindi natin pwedeng basta antayin na lang yung mga bagay na nangyayari sa buhay natin. Kinakailangan magkaroon tayo ng vision, ma-anticipate natin kung ano ang pwedeng mangyari in the future. Kaya nga, ito, nag-umpisa sa mga military, napakaganda ng ito, dahil hindi lang sa kanila applicable sa business, sa academe, sa government, in our daily lives. Napakaganda ng mga na-cite mo na success stories and challenges during this why do people and organizations need to be proactive really? Bakit kinakailangan sila maging proactive rather than reactive? Ano ba ang advantages of being a proactive rather than reactive? Gaya nga na nabanggit mo tungkol dun sa example ng Nokia. So ngayon medyo nakaka-rebound na yata sila ngayon, ano?
Yes.
Medyo sila naging proactive eh. Hindi sila naging proactive. Naging reactive lang sila because of the emergence of new gadgets, no? Na naging competitor nila which really captured the lion's share in the market. Ano ba dapat ang gagawin na hindi lang basta lip service sinabi, kami proactive kami ay proactive, hindi kami reactive, pero more on lip service lang. Ano ba talaga ang magiging ang magiging end result of being a proactive as a solution, one of the solutions to VUCA?
Yes, mahalaga yun. Katulad na nabanggit mo, Sir Joey, yung being a proactive person or a proactive organization would really help you and the business thrive, no? Yan ang sinasabi namin. Pinagkaiba kasi ng proactive and reactive, yung kanyang perspective sa buhay, no, or sa negosyo. No, yung reactive kasi, they are still nandun pa rin siya sa comfort zone niya. Naghihintay siya ng mangyayari, no? Until na pag nangyari na, saka pa lang siya magre-react, no? And usually Johnny come lately yung nangyayari, it comes too late, no? It helps one being proactive personally, no, most especially pag sa personal areas natin, napakahalaga nun. Ang pagiging proactive nakakapag-tulong or nakakatulong siya sa paghuhubog ng mindset na nararapat para dun sa sitwasyon. Not only in the situation, but naka-hinge yun or naka-link dun sa goals mo, no, sa aspirations mo. Similarly, sa organization, pagka proactive yung management and at the same time tinitraining niya or na-develop niya yung culture of proactivity doon sa tinatawag na mga tao niya, malaking bagay yon doon sa negosyo, doon sa business, no? The value of proactivity gives the person and the organization the skill of refinement, no? Alam natin yon, yung refinement kasi parang tinatawag sa Japanese culture yung kaizen, di ba? Yes, the never-ending search for perfection, no? Yung kaizen, no? Sa hapon kasi hindi pwede sa kanila yung pwede na, no? Kahit tama yan, nahanap sila ng paraan, paano pa mapapaigi yan, may improve yan, no? The process improvement, kaya mahusay ang hapon sa ganyan, no? Ang mga Japanese, no? So, first yun, no? The value of proactivity gives you the skill of refinement. Pangalawa, it develops your skill of improvisation, you improvise, no? Hindi ka masyadong stick sa dekahon na buhay or dekahon na sistema sa opisina, lalo sa sales, no? Napakahalaga yung flexibility and the imagination and creativeness ng isang sales area manager, no? So, how you improvise to make hard things easier, no? It's a matter of making hard things easier. Hanap ka ng paraan para dumali, no? Hindi ito yung tinatawag nating shortcut o daya, but how you come up with a system to improvise, no? Given that allotted or that limited resources given to you, no? And pangatlo, yung adaptation skills mo, no? So una, yung refinement, then next is yung how you improvise, then how you adapt, no? How you adapt to the changing scenario. And these three will now give you the power to overcome and thrive, no? So refine, improvise, adapt, then you overcome, and then you thrive. Kasi nasabi nga natin dyan, no? Pagka sa military, pag hindi kaya ng ganitong yung mission natin, pag hindi kaya ng ganitong klaseng armas lang, we have to improvise. We have to change our configuration dun sa lansan nung squad natin. Parang ganon. So sa organization, ganon din, no? How you do adapt. Given the limited available resources or manpower or whatever, no? So yun yung tinatawag na proactivity. Proactivity is not just only anticipating change, no? Proactivity is not just wishful thinking. It's more than that, no? Proactivity is not only positive thinking. It's more than that. It's easy to think positively, no? Things will turn out well. Pero how? The how and the why, yun yung malaking bagay doon, no? Yung the why will be the crucial thing, no? So sa Filipino culture, yun yung malaking bagay that I would want to share briefly, no? Kaya tayo nag-i-struggle sa basura. Hanggang ngayon, nahirapan tayo doon sa segregation. Hanggang ngayon, yung mga pedestrian lane, nahirapan nating follow sa traffic because of the tingi mentality, yung scarcity thinking, no? Being not proactive limits you to a tingi mentality. No? Being a reactive person limits you to a mentality that is always scarce, yung palaging kulang, no? Buti pa siya, merong ganon. Ako, wala, no? So, kukuha tayo ng ganon. That is why, sabi nga, most of the Filipinos are always poor, no? We are passing, yung poor, kung ilalagay ko sa acronym yung poor, P-O-O-R, we are passing over and over yung opportunities, no? Passing over opportunities repeatedly. Poor, P-O-O-R, we are passing over opportunities repeatedly because of the comfort zone, our inability to change our mindset.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. Very enlightening yan, mga binigay mo na antidotes to VUCA. Importante nga yan, being proactive and being creative, no, we have to really to improvise. Kaya lang mga 15 minutes na lang natitira sa time natin, Brother Eric. So, as a life coach, what guides do you give your clients to perform well in the VUCA environment? Mindset skills to thrive, not only to survive in the VUCA environment.
Well, to thrive in the VUCA environment, in this new normal setting, a person should be able to adapt readily to the VUCA environment. And this is defined and evidenced by 3 questions. The first question is, where are you looking to anticipate the next change in your business model or in your life? The answer to this question lies in your calendar. Who are you spending time with? On what topics? Where are you traveling? Who are the people you're talking to? What are the books you're reading? No? And these are the habits, no? On how you anticipate change. No? Sabi nga nila, it takes more than motivation for a man to succeed. No? You may be motivated Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but come Thursday, hindi ka na motivated. So it's really a formula of habits, no? Sino yung mga kasama mo, no? Sino yung mga kinakausap mo? Ano yung ginagawa mo? Anong klaseng goals yung sineset mo, no? So these are what people who thrive and succeed in the VUCA environment, no? They are the ones who can course correct a strategy or anticipate the next move. The second question is, what is the diversity measure of your personal and professional network? Ibig sabihin, kaya mo bang makipagsalamuha sa iba't ibang klaseng tao? Kasi usually we go by the saying, get along, go along to get along, no? We are comfortable to mingle and work with people that who are comfortable with us, no? Birds of the same feather flock together, you know. But do you have the emotional stamina to mix and collaborate with people who are different from you, who have different ideas from you, who have different perspective from you? Are you willing to take that this person can say to you, hey, Joey, your idea sucks. Your idea sounds stupid. Are you able to have that emotional stamina to withstand? And, you know, because having different people from different walks of life and perspective gives you the power to collaborate and at the outcome to have a decision more varied. No, yung decision making mo nanggagaling sa iba't ibang klasing sources, no? So hindi tayo pwedeng mag-guarantee or magtiwala or rely lang dun sa source ng decision natin. We need the other. Yun nga, kaya nga sabi ko kanina, ang tema ngayon, the key operative word for today is yung team collaboration. No? The more people you have on your side that surrounds you is the better for you. The third question is that how courageous enough are you to abandon a practice that made you successful in the past? That made you successful in the past. Kaya mo bang iwanan ang isang practice na dati mo nang ginagawa? Hindi ka nagkakamali, pero successful ka, pero kaya mo bang mag-innovate or kaya mo bang mag-evolve into a higher level, no? Kasi if you keep on doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. But if we want something that we've never had before, we better have the courage and take the risk to do something that we've never done before. Sa tingin ko, yun yung palagi kong opener pag nagko-coach ako personally saka professionally sa mga organization. Yung tatlong question na yun. How are you anticipating the next change in your business model or in your personal life? What is the diversity measure of your network? Who are the people you're talking to, the books you're reading to, or the places you're going? And the third question is, are you courageous enough to abandon a practice that made you successful in the past? And that will force you to transition and innovate and evolve into a more, level up person or organization.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brother Eric. This has been a very interesting learning session indeed. Time went so fast. Kindly share now your Kindly share now your final message with our viewers, especially to our young Thomasian professionals and students, and what Thomasian values can work best for them in this VUCA environment.
Yes, a parting words for the viewers, most especially for the young ones, no, yung mga millennials, yung mga Gen Z and Gen Y natin, no? These are the next, these are the generations who are already handling the businesses right now, and sila yung mga nasa forefront ngayon, no? And they're very passionate, and they're very amazed and very proud working with this young generation sa workplace. And of course, collaborating with them also in other areas in life, no? Huwag tayong matali dun sa tinatawag na fixed mindset, no? Let us keep on developing the growth mindset, no? First, let us have a passion for learning. Yung passion for learning natin, huwag natin tigilan. Let us embrace change. Let us embrace change, no? Diyan magaling ang mga Gen Y, ang mga Gen Z, magaling sila diyan, no? They're very fast in adapting to change, no? So sila nga yung author ng Lazada, kung bakit may Shopee, may Lazada, may Food Grab. Sila yan, dahil sa kanilang generation yan, because of change, no? So next is, be very flexible, no? Be very flexible sa araw-araw na paggagawa natin, no? So we could lead our life, personal lives in the proper direction, and if we are involved in organization, we could help contribute, or kung tayo mismo yung mga startup businesses, we could redirect or direct our startup businesses sa marami pang level, no? Ibase lahat natin po yan, lalo na sa mga Thomasian alumni, most especially for the young ones, dun sa ating core values, no, sa UST, no, tinatawag nating commitment, no. Palagi kong sinasabi sa mga staff ko yon, no, although I'm not mentioning na yun yung core values ng UST. Sabi ko, you should be working based on commitment, no. Pangalawa, sa competence, no, you should be competent. See to it that you yourself are competent to serve people, no. Kasi yung pangatlo, yung compassion, you know. So commitment, yung tinatawag nating competence and compassion, no? If we are not competent enough, personally, mahirap tayong mag-extend ng compassion and to serve other people, no? At mahirap mag-commit sa mission na gano'n, no? Sa ganong klaseng mission, no? So first and foremost, we embrace change. We need to cultivate our passion for learning and to be flexible based sa Thomasian values ng commitment, competence, and compassion.
Okay, very well said. Thank you very much again, Brother Eric, for the gift of your presence today. Napakaganda ng ating talakayan at kwentuhan, and it was so engaging as well as enlightening to learn more about how to best thrive and not only to survive in an environment that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, or known as VUCA. We know that in VUCA environment, traditional problem-solving methods may not work effectively, and individuals, organizations need to be agile, adaptive, and resilient to navigate through it successfully and proactively. We wish to thank our sponsors, the UST-PMT, CAT Alumni Association, and the UST Alumni Association. Announcement: the Dominican community of Calerwaga, together with the UST Alumni Association and the UST Medical Alumni Association and Friends for the Love of Service, will conduct on June 23, 2024, a medical, surgical, and dental mission in Barangay Kailawayan, the nearby barangays of Nasugbu, Batangas. Kindly contact the UST AAI office for further inquiries and for any donation to be given. Before we end the show, we would like to thank all our alumni, students, and friends who have faithfully watched, shared, and liked our Bridges episodes. We share with you all the blessings of Bridges, and do continue to stay with us. Like and share our show and subscribe to our UST Thomasian Alumni Community YouTube channel and Facebook page. The past episodes of Bridges can be watched in your YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us today. Do watch Bridges again on Tuesday for another exciting episode. Always remember, here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. Thank you for the unending support to the UST Alumni Association headed by its President, Attorney Dwight Ramos, and Chairperson, Dr. Evelyn Songko. Thank you also to the Bridges production staff headed by Ms. Ida Chonko, Vice President of the UST AAI, Team Academics and Coordinator of Bridges. And with God's grace, although we live in a VUCA world, we can live in a better world. Mabuhay po tayong lahat, naway pagpalain tayo ng Diyos. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you.